Chapter 5986. Having said this, Yu Wuji also stood up and said in agreement, Senior Wushuang, what the ancestor said is right. Our practitioners from the northern time and space, when they arrive at the world god continent, will unite everything. This treasure is really nothing. Although the younger generation has not been to the world god continent, the ancestors often tell us that when we go to the world god continent, we must unite. The implication is that he has never been to the world god continent, but what the ancestors said was right. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath, took out the world god token, and slapped it on the bill. Don't persuade everyone, I don't have any treasures on my Jian Wushuang that you can admire. This world god token it was given by Lord Realm King, and today I will give it to Senior Tiansong. As he spoke, he drew his finger and sent the world god token directly to the old man Tiansong. No way! Although the old man Tiansong was overjoyed, he didn't dare to take it. He really wanted to win one for the younger generation of this world god order. But he didn't plan to have Jian Wushuang either. Instead, he asked Jian Wushuang to ask Wu Zhuo to find the king of the realm. Unexpectedly, Jian Wushuang, so unstimulated, took out his world god token directly. Jian Wushuang has this token, and he is not surprised. Wan Lu and his entourage have made a great contribution to the northern time and space, and the metal life is solved by Jian Wushuang. It is also normal to give the world god token. If Senior looks down on me, then accept it. Jian Wushuang's eyes were solemn. If you don't accept it, I can only ask Gao Ming for this busyness. The atmosphere froze. The old man Tiansong was a little embarrassed. However, Yu Wuji and the Gore-Fiend Hall Master looked at them with light. If the ancestor agrees, then both of them have the opportunity to get this token. In today's Tiansong Palace, among the descendants of the old man Tiansong, there are 4 of the 8 tribulations, 2 of which are scattered tribulations. There are also 2 cosmos masters of the 8 tribulations realm. But the strength is average. Yu Wuji's status is comparable to that of the Lord of the 8 tribulations realm universe, and the power of blood is very strong. The old man Tiansong is very optimistic about him, and he has every chance to get this world god token. And the Gore-Fiend Palace Master, as the illegitimate son of the old man Tiansong, is also the master of the 8 tribulations realm universe. Although there is some disagreement between the father and son, but it's a father-son relationship after all. Compared with Yu Wuji, a descendant of unknown number of generations, he is much stronger. Moreover, in the 8 tribulations realm, the strength of the Gore-Fiend Palace Master is also much stronger than the 2 8 tribulation realm universe masters in Tiansong Palace. The 2 of them were very excited and could not wait to help the old man Tiansong accept it. But the old man Tiansong was unmoved. World God Continent. But it's not that simple. Outsiders and natives are completely different. And also pay attention to an identity background. The relationship between the old man of Tiansong and the gods of the northern time and space is normal. At first, it was also favored by the realm king. Strength is naturally invincible in the 8 tribulations realm. But it did not reach the combat power of the 9 tribulations realm. Even if they reach the 9 tribulations realm in the future, they will not be invincible in the realm god continent. Still need help. Jian Wushuang and Wu Zhuo are such helpers. In order to help the younger generation enter the world god continent, the old man Tiansong hopes that there will be an alliance between Jian Wushuang and Wu Zhuo. Not only is it powerful, but the background is also very hard. So he hesitated. Even if Jian Wushuang was so decisive, he still had no intention of accepting it. Seeing things get to this point, Wu Zhuo also had to stand up to ease the atmosphere. After thinking for a while, his eyes flashed and he had an idea in his heart, so he very generously took the world god token and handed it to the old man Tiansong. Tiansong, this brother of mine is a straightforward man. If you give it to you, you will accept it. Isn't it just a world god token? Wu Zhuo didn't seem to care. I can have as much as I want. Entering the realm god continent, I will ask the realm king for one more. When the old man Tiansong heard Wu Zhuo's words, his heart moved, and he was forced to accept it. Although I knew that Wu Zhuo had the element of rhetoric, but after thinking about it, Jian Wushuang was such a peerless genius, and with Wu Zhuo's relationship, it should be easy to find another realm order from the Realm King. Then it'll be disrespectful. The old man Tiansong gave a wry smile and accepted the World God token. This time, the goal has been achieved. Although there are flaws, it can be regarded as a World God token. He turned his head and glanced at Yu Wuji, and then at Gorfiend Hallmaster. He did not express the attribution of this World God token. He fears at that time, when the real king is to blame, it will be troublesome to bring Jian Wushuang to find him one day. So I don't want to send it directly. When Jian Wushuang gets a new World God token and enters the World God continent, he will dispose of the ownership of this World God token, and he can also inspire all the younger generation. Let them all know that everyone has the hope of entering the World God continent. It's literally killing two birds with one stone. Seeing that the old man Tiansong accepted it, Jian Wushuang was also relieved. You don't have to owe someone else's favor. There was no burden in my heart. At the same time, he said, Brother Wu Zua, can you really get me another World God token? Don't worry, the old man Jiawang is not as stingy as Lord Jinling. If I ask for it, he will definitely give it to you. Wu Zua answered with a vow. In fact, he didn't have a clue. But to repair the pyramid, he has to say something too. Jian Wushuang cannot be allowed to bleed alone. After all, after the pyramid was repaired, it was to return to the Qi temple to deal with the destruction of life. Also, in the name of Jian Wushuang, he asked for the World God token, which was better than exchanging the World God token for a treasure. Otherwise, the Realm King will call him a prodigal son. Take the World God token to exchange for treasures? He really can do things like. Jian Wushuang really had no choice, so he took out the World God token. However, he didn't care about the World God's order. There is not much expectation for the World God continent. As long as he lives, there is a mountain in his heart. After eradicating the extinction, first take a good rest and then talk about the business. I will definitely go to the World God continent, but I am not in such a hurry. After expressing his request and solving the human relationship problem, the banquet was a little more casual. After 3 days of drinking, after chatting with the old man Tiansong a lot about the world continent and realm, the banquet was over. Jian Wushuang didn't ask much about the World God continent, but the statement about the existence of the ancients was much more stable. Eternity exists. Eternal existence. In the past, Jian Wushuang thought that the other party was the Nine Tribulation Realm, or even an existence beyond the Nine Tribulation Realm. Later, I wondered if the other party might be a god. Only now did I understand where the opponent was stuck. The consummation of the 8 tribulations. It is the perfection of origin and divine power. But it hasn't reached the real limit yet. If you want to become the 9 tribulations realm, you first need the time and space of your hometown to be able to carry your own life. At present, the North time-space has not done so. But it's not far. After Dan Bao created the secret method of resurrection, he would start preparing to create the secret method of the pinnacle of the 9 tribulations realm. Chapter 5987. Once it can carry the life of the 9 tribulations realm, the northern time and space will also reach its peak state. 9 tribulations realm can be born continuously. That's how the other 3 time spaces came. North time and space is at the bottom. It's no wonder that we scolded the king of the northern realm at the beginning. Now the old man of Tiansong, just like Sanjia, is waiting for Dan Bao to create a secret method. Their current state is neither the 8 tribulations nor the 9 tribulations. To be precise, it has sealed its origin, and the divine power can still be improved, but the origin cannot be improved. To improve again, it is necessary to cross the 9th robbery. With the current state of the northern time and space, even if the calamity is successfully crossed, it will fall. After cultivating for such a long time, the 3 ancient existences have already made sufficient preparations for transcending the calamity, and they have absolute confidence that the calamity will be successfully transcended, but there is no way to transcend the calamity. He had to seal his origin and stagnate the cultivation of his origin. Jian Wushuang was also extremely curious when he heard it. Curious why the 9th robbery can be suppressed for so long. If the time to cross the tribulation can be suppressed all the time, Then there will be no scattered calamity in the 8 tribulations realm. In the end, they will all come to eternity. The explanation I got later was still related to the world god continent. Not only the realm god continent, but also with the help of the realm king, they cultivated a peculiar secret technique to reach the state of eternity. After getting this explanation, Jian Wushuang completely understood. At the same time, he also lamented the misery of the rest of the 8 tribulations realm. Ruthlessly abandoned. One after another went to cross the robbery, and finally became a scattered robbery. No wonder the 3 ancient existences have not said their realm to the outside world. Just let those 8 tribulation realm powerhouses speculate, but in the end they lost their lives. Well now, with the God of life, there is hope for the robbery and the eternal beings. This era is really the best era. Jian Wushuang sighed. As the pioneer of this time and space, he also has a trace of excitement. Expect to see a world of different colors. His own strength has already touched the dome of this world. If there is no more powerful existence, it is really boring. Although the realm god continent has 9 tribulations realm powerhouses. But it's just another world. Essentially little improvement. Before you know it, you have come to an end. Jian Wushuang felt that his heart was empty. The existence of death may be a good thing, giving him endless motivation. When the banquet was over, the crowd dispersed. The problem of the old man Tiansong preparing materials to repair, Jian Wushuang and others were taken by Yu Wuji to visit Tiansong Palace. They are more than just visiting. In Tiansong Palace, there is another person waiting for them to find. And need to buy some treasures. The purchase of treasures was originally planned to be handed over to Wuzhua. But this time to repair the pyramid, after knowing the difficulty behind it. Jian Wushuang generously took out a full source of life at the level of the 8 tribulations, and gave it to Yu Wuji, asking the other party to help purchase treasures. Life force is the reward. Yu Wuji tried his best to shirk it, not because he was unwilling to help purchase treasures, but because he didn't dare to ask for the power of life. He has to perform better now, especially in front of Jian Wushuang and others. Friend Wuji, just accept it, this life force is as much as I need, it's nothing. Jian Wushuang rarely said a big word. But still true. Yu Wuji was very careful, first asked the ancestor for instructions, and finally accepted it. With so much life force, he is actually very tempted. Although he doesn't need it, he can use it in exchange for favors. Born in Tiansong Palace. And it is the strongest among the top, or the best generation of Tianjiao. What is lacking is not treasures, but people's hearts. He needs the support of the powerhouses in the family, such as where are the 2 robbery powerhouses from the 8 tribulations realm. With the support of these people, he was able to obtain the world god token. After gaining the power of life, Yu Wuji became even more attentive. While introducing some strange treasures of Tiansong Palace, she instructed the powerhouses of Tiansong Palace to collect the treasures that Jian Wushuang needed. After reading the purchase list, he couldn't help but feel the pain. There are too many treasures to buy, and Tiansong Palace can't get them all at once. Need to go to other time air conditioning set. It just so happens that it will take years to repair the pyramids. Don't delay. Speaking of several years, this is still the millions of times that Tiansong has opened the time acceleration. Repairing a mechanical treasure at the 9 tribulations realm level is not that simple. Although it is only repaired to about 70% of the power, it also takes a lot of time. Moreover, some materials are not available on the old man Tiansong, and he still needs to find 2 other ancient existences to exchange. At the banquet, he didn't say anything bigger, and he couldn't get the world god token. Playing with an old fox who has lived for countless years, Jian Wushuang and others are still a little tender. But that's nothing. Just some cleverness. Jian Wushuang took out the world god token and had a clear conscience. What I want is a peace of mind. For the old man Tiansong, there is no complaint. Instead, they are grateful. It's all worth it to be able to fix the pyramid. After seeing the power of the pyramid, he was even more sure of his own thoughts. No problem at all. Repair 70% as long as the pyramid can still emit that kind of red light beam, he has absolute confidence to return to Qi Temple. With the power of the 9 tribulations realm, he didn't believe that Miexing could be so powerful. Downstream is not upstream. According to what Weiss and the King of the Realm said, the time and space of the original universe would not be able to exert peak strength at all. It would be good to have the peak of the 8 tribulations realm. But even so, he didn't care. Be prepared for everything. Fighting Palace. Tiansong Palace is divided into palaces. It is also a martial arts arena. It is used for sparring. In order to make fun of Jian Wushuang and others, Yu Wuji did not hesitate to hold a challenge competition within the Tiansong Palace in advance. That is to say, in order to motivate the self-motivation of internal members, the sect competition was held. All the lords of the universe? Jian Wushuang and the others sat at the top of the viewing platform. The surroundings were empty, and most of the viewing platform was covered by them. No outsiders disturbed. However, at this time, there were 2 more experts from the 8 tribulations realm. The masters of the universe of the 8 tribulations realm of Tiansong Palace are all wandering outside. Not in Tiansong Palace. Even if they were, Yu Wuji would not let them come. This kind of performance opportunity is given to the other party, but he has nothing. Since the old man Tiansong received Jian Wushuang's world god token, Yu Wuji looked at everyone like his own rival. So this time the sect fighting was held. They are all disciples below the 7 tribulations realm. In order to improve the effect of watching the battle, naturally, it will not be embarrassing to bring some scattered robbery. So everyone is the master of the universe. There are thousands of people. Jian Wushuang looked stunned. Thousands of lords of the 6 tribulations realm universe. This was the first time he had seen so many lords of the universe. Tiansong Palace is not a loss. It is a force with the same life as the sky. The foundation is really strong. Chapter 5988. Among those people, Jian Wushuang saw an acquaintance at a glance. Light and shadow. He turned his head and reminded Wu Zua and the others. Together they looked at the Lord of Light and Shadow. This inheritor from Qishan Temple is now also shining brightly in Tiansong Palace. Zongmin Martial Arts. In the top 10 arenas, each has a defender. Whoever stays longer is the winner. Everyone initially has a chance to challenge. If you lose, you will be eliminated. If you win, you will get a chance to challenge. Even if you are beaten by the wheel and lose, you can challenge other arenas. And so on, until the final 10 people are eligible to enter the next round. At this time, the Lord of Light and Shadow sits in the number 1 ring. No one dared to challenge. Obviously in the same rank, his strength is extremely dazzling, and everyone is afraid of his combat power. There are also some who know that they are at the bottom and become heroes. Choose to challenge the Lord of Light and Shadow. But in the arena, the Lord of Light and Shadow can defeat the opponent almost without taking a shot. Because of his shadow, he was able to defeat the challenger. So bored that he danced with shadows. In a 1-person arena, there are 2 identical shadows standing on the left and right. The challenger you meet can easily defeat the opponent with a random shadow. Yu Wuji on the viewing platform saw that Jian Wushuang and others were more optimistic about the Lord of Light and Shadow in the number 1 arena, but no one was going to challenge it, so he forcibly ordered some powerful lords of the 6 tribulations realm universe to challenge the Lord of Light and Shadow. Seniors, are you interested in the Lord of Light and Shadow? Yu Wuji asked cautiously. Jian Wushuang shrugged, playing with his taste. Friend Wuji, this time I might ask you for someone. Oh! Yu Wuji was stunned for a moment, thinking that Jian Wushuang had taken a fancy to the female cultivator, and smiled lightly. It's their blessing to be able to get into everyone's eyes, so choose a posture that let them go. Wu Zhuo was speechless, waved his hand and said, Which Lord of Light and Shadow, when did you enter the Tiansong Palace? He joined the Tiansong Palace not long ago, about 1,000,000 epochs ago, but the speed of progress is very fast. In 1,000,000 epochs, he has reached the top level of the 6 tribulations realm. Now his personal power is probably around 2 million. Yu Wuji introduced it in great detail, because the Lord of Light and Shadow belongs to the powerhouse of his faction. It's my own, I'm sure I'm familiar with it. 1. 2 million divine power, he was just talking nonsense. It just feels like there are so many. In fact, the strength of the Lord of Light and Shadow is far from that. You know, the first person in the first batch of inheritors of the Qi Shrine, the Lord of Light and Shadow. In the same period, it is more dazzling than Jian Wushuang and Hui Qing. Much bigger potential than Dongxing and Wan Yen. He is also the emperor of the ultimate achievement. After arriving at the Six Tribulations realm, with the support of the Realm King behind him, I am afraid that the opportunity will not be too small. In terms of divine power, Dongxing and Wan Yen will not be weak either. At least 1.5 million divine power. Friend Wuji, this Lord of Light and Shadow is an old friend of mine. When I leave this time, I may take him with me, please forgive me. Jian Wushuang did not hide it, but made a request. Although Yu Wuji was a little curious, she didn't care. She raised her hands in agreement. She was originally a female cultivator, but she didn't expect an old friend to be there. He is also lucky. He is old friends with Jian Wushuang and others, and he happens to be his subordinate. The relationship got closer again. On the viewing platform, I took a cursory look at the combat power of Light and Shadow, and it was considered qualified. In fact, back to Qi Temple, you don't need to bring the other party. Not much use anyway. Jian Wushuang just wanted to fulfill his original promise. At the beginning, I promised to bring everyone back to the true spirit. He can't break his word. As for the original oath, it's long gone. After reaching this level, breaking the oath is simple. It is not an oath of the supreme rule. Without any restraints. If the other party is like Zhen Wuyang, he doesn't want to leave. He won't force it either. But then the cause and effect will be discontinued. Jian Wushuang still looks down on people who even gave up their hometown. It's just that he treated Zhen Wuyang at the beginning, and he didn't show it. Because the DCU of 1 mu and 3 plots in Zhenliang has been destroyed. No more thoughts. As for Zhenling's great kindness, according to his words, it is to be repaid in the next life. Lighting is different. His hometown is still there. Moreover, Zhenling was very kind to him back then. After all, it was from a Taoist monarch who left the Qi Temple after reaching the top of the mountain. It can be said that not long after he was born, he arrived at the Qishan Temple, cultivated all the way to the peak of perfection, swore an oath to the tombstone of Qishan, and even drank blood wine. Can't help but go back. Jian Wushuang sat on the top and watched the fight below. His hands were itchy. Just as he was going to talk to Guangying, he took the initiative to get up and move his hands and feet. I've seen itchy hands, Taoist Wuji, I will meet you. The arrogance of Tiansong Palace. That's a blessing for these little guys. Yu Wuji laughed lightly. Although he had never seen Jian Wushuang make a move, he had heard that Jian Wushuang could fight back and forth in front of the Gorfiend Hallmaster. Not even him. But Jian Wushuang is only in the Six Tribulations realm. The bright side of the realm is the same as the little guys below, but the divine power can be so powerful. After Wu Zhuo heard Jian Wushuang's words, he also wanted to go down and try, but after seeing the origin of Jian Wushuang's Six Tribulations realm, he held back. No matter how thick his skin is, will not go to the Master of the Universe in the Six Tribulations realm to train his hands. Dongxing and Wan Yen had no such idea. The two were oppressed by the Gorfiend Palace for so long, and now they are finally free. Then enjoy life. Watching others fight in the ring is the most comfortable. Jian Wushuang and Wu Zhuo have no opponents and feel bored. They are two brothers, but they are fighting for 1,000,000 epics. There is already aversion to fighting. Jian Wushuang's figure flashed and went directly to the number 1 arena below. The champion on the number 1 arena is Light and Shadow. The Lord of Light and Shadow thought that his eyes were dazzled when he saw the stranger appearing in front of him. Although there are many masters of the universe in the Six Tribulations realm in Tiansong Palace. But there are only 1,000 people, and he knows each one, and can even tell the secret method of the other party's cultivation. The unfamiliar figure appeared in front of him now. He only felt familiar, but he could not recognize who the other party was. Jian Wushuang restrained his breath. Even the Lord of the 8 Tribulations realm universe could not see through him. The Lord of the 6 Tribulations realm universe within the same rank cannot even see through his appearance. Even the light and shadow can only vaguely see the outline of Jian Wushuang's face, so it feels familiar. There was a layer of black mist on Jian Wushuang's face. He deliberately covered himself up. Since it's down, let's play a game first. Let's talk business when we're done. Who are you? It's just an old friend. Jian Wushuang replied indifferently. Chapter 5989. The Lord of Light and Shadow frowned. Old man? He thought about it but couldn't think of who it was. He buried the matter of Qishan Temple in the bottom of his heart and didn't even think about it at all. After reincarnating in the ancient moon time and space, he arrived at the treasure yellow sky among the 9 heavens. After a 7-star sect became a direct disciple, and after arriving at the Lord of the Universe, he was accidentally transported to the eternal realm of heaven in a secret realm. But after entering Tiansong Eternal Realm, he first went to a secret realm and obtained an ancient inheritance before entering Tiansong Palace. With a strong inheritance, coupled with the cultivation of the Tiansong Palace, he cultivated for 1,000,000 epochs, and broke through to the master of the universe of the 6 tribulations realm in one fell swoop. Along the way, he has not had any close friends. He has always regarded the ancient moon space-time and the eternal realm of the sky as his own tempering stones. Never had feelings. Now that he heard the words of the old man, his heart moved. But dare not think about it, because he took the initiative to look for a few people who came together at the beginning. But there is no news. So much so that he felt that it was with people and that it had fallen. Or, everything in the beginning was another dream of Huangliang? Jian Wushuang could see the doubts of the other party. In fact, everyone would be like this. Except himself. It's not because of how strong his Dao heart is. But he was in the Wanlu Shenmu, the flow of time was slow, and the flow of time outside was too fast. As a result, he has passed several epochs, and the outside world has passed 1,000,000 epochs. Those people at the beginning were specially arranged by the Realm King. If he did not come out, these people would not meet. So this time, there will be such a big doubt. Kinds of heart. Brings back memories of the past. And the oath that those immature faces stood in front of Qishan's tombstone back then became a lie. Who are you? The Lord of Light and Shadow didn't dare to think back, frowned and took a half step back, pointing at Jian Wushuang with disbelief in his eyes. Jian Wushuang smiled slightly, raised his hand and said, "Just try it out." Clang. He drew his sword directly. The sword of myriad tribulations was bathed in pale blue light and was pulled out of its scabbard. This action is his signature. The original Cloud Ju sword was also pulled out like this, the incarnation of fighting against life. The Lord of Light and Shadow has seen it before. Now that I see this action, I believe it a little bit. The person in front of him is really an old friend. This also gave the Lord of Light and Shadow some peace of mind, but he did not retreat anymore. Instead, several dark shadows appeared around him. Jian Wushuang also grinned, and the two shot at the same time. Since they are old friends, let's test each other how much their strength has grown over the years. The Lord of Light and Shadow was one of the top talents. Even at a certain moment, Li beat Jian Wushuang and Hui Qing. Apart from Shang, he is the first inheritor in the Tomb's sacred mountain. Now he has entered the ancient moon time and space, although he is also the master of the universe of the 6 tribulations realm. But the overall strength is indeed much stronger than Dongxing and Wanyan. The 3 shadow clones were dispatched instantly. The divine power of each clone is controlled at 1.2 million. Not much different from the deity. Moreover, these clones are haunted, and the speed is extremely strange. Jian Wushuang did not use the super ancient transformation, and the pure basic divine power was only 1.5 million, but it was no problem to deal with these shadow clones. The figure flashed, and several streamers were highlighted. With 1 sword and 3 slashes, he passed through 3 shadow clones. In the end, he rushed to the deity of the Lord of Light and Shadow. Sure enough, the Lord of Light and Shadow does not mean that the original Jian Wushuang is still the same Jian Wushuang. Still so powerful. However, his years have not been in vain. Jian Wushuang's myriad tribulations sword turned into thousands of blue lights and shadows. Divine power is the pinnacle of the foundation. has 1.5 million powers. It directly pierced the deity of the Lord of Light and Shadow. Jian Wushuang was stunned for a moment, looking at the pierced deity. His brows twitched, and he quickly turned his head to look behind. The deity of the Lord of Light and Shadow condensed again, but on the surrounding arena, there were more than 100 shadow clones. The divine power of each shadow exploded to 1.3 million. This scene surprised many people present. They saw at most 10 clones of the Lord of Light and Shadow. Moreover, the divine power of the shadow is also around 1.2 million. This divine power is the peak divine power of most of the Six Tribulations Realm Universe Masters. To the extent that the Lord of Light and Shadow can do this, he is already the pinnacle of the Six Tribulations Realm Universe Lords. This isn't even the deity. For the seeds of the same rank, no one has been able to test the deity combat power of the Lord of Light and Shadow. Unexpectedly, the Lord of Light and Shadow concealed his strength at the beginning. Some of the geniuses in the rest of the arena looked sideways. Marvel at the strength of the Lord of Light and Shadow. At the same time, I am more curious about the identity of Jian Wushuang. They can feel the realm of Jian Wushuang, and they are also the masters of the Six Tribulations Realm Universe. It was even able to tie with the Lord of Light and Shadow. The people on the viewing platform were indeed very indifferent, especially Wu Zue and others who knew Jian Wushuang's true strength. Not to mention the 1.3 million shadows of Baidao's divine power. Even if there are thousands of such shadows, Jian Wushuang can kill them at will. Yu Wuji, who was standing on the side, was surprised by the strength of the Lord of Light and Shadow. He didn't expect that there was such a person under his command. Such strength, coupled with talent and potential, the future master of the Seven Tribulations Realm Universe. At the same time, I also understood, no wonder Jian Wushuang proposed to take the other party away. Turn around for a quick look. Among Jian Wushuang's group, there is the powerful Wu Zue. Can be compared to the top powerhouses of the Eight Tribulations, and is much stronger than him. There are also Dongxing and Wan Yan. The divine auras of these two are more than 1.5 million. If you pick one, they are the top talents among the major forces. The invincible existence in the Lord of the Six Tribulations Realm Universe. As for Jian Wushuang, I will not talk about it, but it is an existence that can resist millions of divine powers. It is the only existence in the 9 time and space. It's just that Jian Wushuang in the ring didn't show it. Facing Baidao Shadow at this time, although there was no pressure, it did not show too tyrannical suppression. Instead, he is testing the Lord of Light and Shadow. Guangying, show some of your real skills, or the battle will end soon. Jian Wushuang held the sword of myriad tribulations backwards, and the sword energy exploded behind him, directly shattering several light and shadows. Countless sword shadows flew out from behind, and the 100 shadows could be broken in an instant. The other party's secret method is very good. It is definitely a peak secret method. But 100 shadows are by no means the limit of light and shadow. At least able to cast 1,000 shadows. And the shadow of a single body will be even more powerful. The Lord of Light and Shadow raised his head and said in a low voice, "Tisk hise, then let you see what I have learned over the years." The ground began to collapse, and light and shadow fell into the ground. The sky began to twist. Myriad shadows tribulation, The surrounding space began to shake. Countless lights and shadows condensed in the sky. Chapter 5990. From top to bottom, an inverted pyramid shape is condensed. The light and shadow also rose from the ground at this time, exuding a pitch-black mist, which was the power after the shadow was broken. There are thousands of shadows on the top of the head, blessing on the whole body of light and shadow. Thousands of shadows, each with 1.5 million divine powers. Each of them is comparable to the powerhouses of the Seven Tribulations realm. And the deity of the Lord of Light and Shadow also burst into real strength at this moment. From 1.5 million, it was directly raised to 2 million. These powers come from shadows. Water can carry a boat and capsize it. The Lord of Light and Shadow can bless the shadow with divine power, and the shadow can naturally increase the divine power to the deity of the Lord of Light and Shadow. The beauty of this secret method is here. With 2 million divine powers, the divine body of the Lord of Light and Shadow has become incomparably huge. Looking at this huge divine body, the Lord of the Six Tribulations realm universe, who is in the same family as the Lord of Light and Shadow, couldn't say anything in shock. This is not a little bit worse, but almost a level worse. The current Lord of Light and Shadow has reached the peak combat power of the Seven Tribulations realm. Dongxing and Wanyan are not as good as him. In the Six Tribulations realm, I am afraid that Jian Wushuang can suppress the Lord of Light and Shadow. The opponent is really strong. The basic divine body is actually the same as him. But with so many divine bodies, the secret technique really surpassed Dongxing and Wanyan. The side explains the role of the secret law. The basic divine power relies on the hard pile of treasures. But the secret method needs to be created by oneself. Back then, Jian Wushuang's secret technique could only increase the source, not the divine power. It took an unknown price to create a super ancient change. Together with the source, it has increased to the peak. This is the power of the secret law. The Lord of Light and Shadow looked down at Jian Wushuang and said indifferently, "How about it? Can your current strength catch your eye?" This sentence has the taste of provocation. When Jian Wushuang is powerful, it is indeed overwhelming that many inheritors of the Qi Temple can't breathe. When they entered the ancient moon time and space, they all tried their best to surpass everyone. Take Jian Wushuang as a target. Now Guangying has the confidence to defeat Jian Wushuang in front of him. 1.5 million basic divine power. Similar to light and shadow. Depends on the secret. Guangying was not in a hurry, just waiting for Jian Wushuang. At this time, his heart was excited, guessing where Jian Wushuang's divine power limit was. There is no hiding of the origin, and the strength of Jian Wushuang's Six Tribulations is just there. At the beginning, Jian Wushuang was comparable to the Lord of the Universe in the Emperor. Although it is difficult to step beyond the robbery after reaching the robbery. But that's just for ordinary people. Not the peerless genius like Jian Wushuang. Yes, your strength is above Dongxing and Wanyan. Jian Wushuang commented indifferently. After hearing these two familiar names, the Lord of Light and Shadow was stunned for a moment, and then he understood. Jian Wushuang did not come alone. Also with Dongxing and Wanyan. And it can suddenly join in the trial of Tiansong Palace. Whether it is background or strength, it will not be too weak. This made the Lord of Light and Shadow even more excited. Jian Wushuang, you haven't seen each other for so many years, you are still so calm. The Lord of Light and Shadow was shocked, and myriad shadows' tribulation reached its peak. Countless shadows returned to the deity of light and shadow. The power is still rising. He no longer has any concealment. Divine power directly exceeded 2 million. It ended up at 3 million. It has surpassed the average Seven Tribulations realm powerhouse. If the divine power of Six Tribulations realm reaches 1.5 million, it is a limit. Then the Seven Tribulations realm is 3 million divine powers. Exceeding that limit can be comparable to the ordinary 8 Tribulations realm. The divine power of the Lord of Light and Shadow can explode to 3 million, which has exceeded many people's expectations. It was Jian Wushuang who felt the huge divine power in the opponent's body, so he wasn't too surprised. The Six Tribulations realm Tianjiao in the rest of the arena grew up and was once again shocked by the strength of the Lord of Light and Shadow. Simply beyond their comprehension. Even Yu Wuji on the viewing platform was incredulous. He is a half-step 8 Tribulation realm, and his basic divine power is only 2.8 million. After casting the secret method, it can be comparable to the ordinary 8 Tribulations realm, and the divine power can also be increased to more than 3 million. But he is the Lord of the Seven Tribulations realm universe. And the basic power is very high. The Lord of Anti-Sight and Shadows, but the Lord of the Six Tribulations realm universe, and the basic divine power is very weak. The basic divine power is only 1.5 million, and the peak after the increase is a terrifying 2.3 million, a full increase of 800,000. This shows how powerful the secret method of light and shadow is. Although Jian Wushuang knew the strength of the Lord of Light and Shadow, he was inevitably shaken in place. An increase of 800,000 reached more than half of the basic divine power. His super eternity change, although it can be doubled, it is because of the power of the starry sky. And it can also link the source. So it will increase so much. But the Lord of Light and Shadow is just the Lord of the universe who takes the ultimate path. He was able to create such a shocking secret. It's really not that common. It is also Wu's direct disciple who has practiced the unique skills of the Realm King and can stabilize the head of the Master of Light and Shadow. Speaking of which, chances are different. If the Lord of Light and Shadow was a disciple of the Realm King, he might not lose to Wu's. With the guidance of the Realm King, plus countless treasures, Wu's arrival at the Seven Tribulations realm is actually not that great. The original 10 people can reach, just not that fate. Is it worth your shot now? The Lord of Light and Shadow shrank his shadow, but he had already turned into a shadow. His divine power was like nothingness, his face was a little hideous, and he stared at Jian Wushuang. The whole body is covered with pitch-black demonic flames, and there is truth in the shadow, but the divine power is nothingness, so that the power in his own divine body can be completely exploded. And almost infinite. Jian Wushuang saw the opponent's confidence at a glance, took a deep breath, and also wanted to fully explode his own divine power. Feel your limits. Super eternal change. He clenched his fists with both hands, and the robbery armor on his body instantly appeared, and the basic divine power directly increased by 500,000. This made the Lord of Light and Shadow startled. There are also some doubts. Is it only an increase of 500,000? As an opponent, he couldn't believe it. Jian Wushuang was so dazzling at the beginning. After becoming the master of the universe, how could he be so mediocre? But when he saw that the added 500,000 divine power was actually integrated with the basic divine power, he realized that things were not that simple. Wu Zhuo and others on the viewing platform were very relaxed. Wushuang brother, this outbreak, it is estimated that the light and shadow will be frightened. Wu Zhuo laughed loudly. Look good, this kind of scene is not common. The last sentence was obviously addressed to Yu Wuji. The other party has always suspected how powerful Jian Wushuang's divine power is. At this time, he was also watching Jian Wushuang's changes attentively. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.